Well, Brian doesn't think I'm all that illustrious. I forgot him, but I am, I guess, once again, chair. So in that position, I'm going to give a short State of the Foundation address, and then I'm going to get on with the awards ceremony. First, I want to thank those of you who are foundation members for supporting us in what we do, in fact, in what you do, because you are, in fact, the foundation. One thing that we have done this year and last year is we have institutionalized and professionalized the foundation. The foundation is not just of who the leaders are. The foundation is of who the members are. And the Bonnie Castry chaired a committee last year whereby we actually put down in bylaws many of the things that had been passed over the years. So we've institutionalized things, we've professionalized things, so that when something comes up, we can move on a dime. Our first test of this was when one of our honored guests stole our executive, when John Perez decided to, that Josh Kerpies, who was our executive director, might do well in the working for the state assembly. Well, then we all of a sudden had to find a new executive director. And I personally didn't think that we could replace Josh. But we're professionalized, we're institutionalized. Jerry Patterson headed a committee that reviewed resumes literally from around the country, We narrowed it down to very few people. We interviewed the top ones of them, and John All's forgiven because we found Henry Vandermeer. So apparently, Josh, you did have an equal out there, and I didn't know that was the truth. But what I use this example to explain that we are able to move quickly because we know our positions, we know what we're supposed to do, we have rules, and we move. Henry was selected by the committee unanimously, and ultimately by the board of directors unanimously also. So that's an example of our professionalization and our institutionalization. We've been institutionalized. Throughout the year, we've allowed we've provided access to our members to important decision makers. If you look at your programs, you'll see the wonderful lunches that we have been able to have. We had a program for local elected Democratic officials to interact with people with whom they needed to interact. It was a workshop forum. John Chung was kind enough to come down and help us with that. And again, it's a matter of providing service, providing what we can. We instituted a voter registration program. And in La Habra, I checked the numbers today where we had our pilot project. The Republican advantage, because of our program, is down to 0.008%. And Larry and Jordan, Irvine and Anaheim, watch out, we're coming next. And we're able to do all of these things because we have great people and great people doing great things. Then, one Saturday morning, I got a phone call from Brian Joseph of the Orange County Register, and he said, Dan, I had a wonderful sleep. Had enjoyed my Friday evening, and he said, Dan, I'm trying to confirm a story about some hinky stuff happening with Democratic funds. Can you confirm it? I said, Brian, I don't know anything about it. He said, keep an eye on the Orange County Register's website because something's coming up. I'm about to confirm this. And certainly within 3 minutes of Brian posting that Kindy Durkee had been arrested by the FBI, we were able to know about it as soon as I got up off the floor. We became a center for information for our members and for others about what was happening with the Durkee scandal. And since then, we have done everything that we can to protect and to fight for Democrats. We've appeared twice at the Fair Political Practices Commission meetings to try to get rules that will help Democrats. It's mostly Democrats, but she had some Republican candidates also in this odd situation to provide for some fairness. We've retained an attorney to be able to help some of our members who find themselves in a particular situation. And we've been able to do all of these things because of the professionalization and institutionalization that we have done here at the Democratic Foundation. And again, the Democratic Foundation is not me, it's not the officers, it's not the board, it is you. And I thank you for allowing the foundation to do these wonderful things. It's been an interesting year, it's been an exciting year, and it's been a great year for the foundation. So that is what happened in 2011 at the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. I'd introduce the next person, but he is me. So rather than do that, I'll just move right on. This is the presentation of the Richard J. O'Neill Award for Excellence in Service. Those of you who knew Dick knew that he was all about service. Whether that was being in the service, in the Navy, fighting in World War II, whether that was protecting the environment, or quietly giving to and working for some good cause, or just being a good man. When we look for recipients for the O'Neill Service Award, we look for people who have qualities similar to those of Richard J. O'Neill. And it's kind of a hard search, but we got one. We got one. And I'm going to introduce him in a moment, but of course he is our state controller, and he is John Chung. John told me, John knew Dick, they would see each other at political events, but John once told me a story that is a little bit more touching and private. They had a common friend, a Japanese-American friend who was of Dick's generation. And this may be actually John's greatest memory of Dick, is what this common friend said. And she shared with John the depth of his feelings against discriminations against Asians. And this was, I think, very touching for John. And it's important to remember that Dick's generation, during his lifetime, Japanese Americans right here in California were locked up for being Japanese Americans in California. And it's important to remember that right here in this county, in the early part of the 20th century, the Santa Ana City Council burned down Chinatown. And it's important to remember that in the 70s, when the Vietnamese came to California, specifically came to Orange County, there was a move in Congress to try to disperse them. You know, you don't want too many of those people in one spot. And it's important to remember that then Congressman Jerry Patterson put an end to that. So that through the leadership of people like Jerry and Dick, great Asian American leaders have been able to arise. And one of them is our recipient. One of them is the recipient of our award. I'm not speaking hyperbolically. John is smart to the point of brilliant. He is compassionate to the point of to being an angel. And he is tough to the point of doing what's right, saying what's right, and getting things done. Ask the legislature which wasn't getting paid, how tough John Chung can in fact be. And the combination of compassion, smartness, and toughness exemplifies Dick O'Neill and exemplifies the 2011 recipient of the Richard J. O'Neill Award for Excellence in Service, our state controller, Mr. John Chung. There you go. Two shots, okay, please. Nice on me. Okay, hold on, please. One more. Thank you. Now you can still applaud because he's now going to really talk. I'll put it down by your seat.